Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our latest Railbookers webinar. It's fantastic to see so many of you joining us this Tuesday afternoon. I can see, in fact, that there's several people still signing in as we speak. So what we'll do is we'll just pause things for about another minute just to allow everyone who's currently signing in time to get settled down, comfortable, get the audio working, and so on. So once again, thank you for joining us. We'll start in around about 1 minute's time. Good afternoon again, everyone, and welcome to those of you who've just joined us to our latest Railbookers webinar. Great to have so many of you here with us this afternoon. My name is Matt. It's my pleasure to be with you today as we look at our most popular holidays via the Alps. So just to briefly explain how things will work today, we're going to look at a selection of fantastic holidays by train, all of which include some of the breathtaking scenery of the Swiss Alps. And just before we do that, for the benefit really of anyone who's new to Railbookers, perhaps hasn't traveled with us before or hasn't attended one of these webinars before, we'll take a brief look at who we are and what we do. In the course of the webinar, as you may have seen from the introductory slide, you can ask questions at any time. And towards the end of the webinar, we'll see if we can answer a selection of those for you live. And then any we don't manage to get around to, one of the team will reach out to you within the next day or so to make sure that we cover every single question one way or another. So let's get started. Firstly, some news that I do need to make you all aware of in case you haven't noticed already, that we do have some big savings available at the current time. So we realize for most of us, for fairly obvious reasons, 2020 has been a bit of a washout in terms of holidays for very, very obvious reasons, as I say. So we're offering you the chance to make up and go big for 2021. You can save up to £500 per couple on a selection of fantastic holidays for destinations including Italy, Switzerland, Scotland, and many, many more. To find out which destinations, which holidays you can choose from, if you go to our website, railbookers.co.uk, there's a selection of tabs across the middle of the screen. The middle one entitled Special Offers, that's the one to click on, and you'll see all of the offers that are available. And this sale finishes on November the 13th. So, as I mentioned, a brief introduction just to cover why travellers love Railbookers and travelling by train with us. And there are lots of different reasons, really. One of them is that whether you're looking at traveling in 2 days' time, admittedly not so likely right now, or in 2 years' time, our holidays go anytime, any day, anywhere. So if the train goes there, then so do we. All of the itineraries that you see on our website are customizable as well. Now, what does that mean? Well, an example is that you might like the general idea in one of the holidays that you see, but wish that you could change it slightly. Maybe you wish it could be slightly longer, you think you'd like more time in one destination than we have outlined, or you'd like to perhaps add in a destination that isn't originally included. Any of those options, and many more ideas too, are all perfectly possible. All you need to do is just let us know what are the little changes that you'd like to make it the perfect holiday for you. Rail travel also offers unparalleled bucket list experiences, particularly if you're looking at traveling for a special occasion. It could be that you've always dreamed of traveling by train overland from coast to coast across the USA. Perhaps maybe you've always wanted to arrive in Venice in style on board the Orient Express, or perhaps just tick off one or two of those destinations that you've always wanted to visit, but for whatever reason, you've never quite got around to it. Whatever the occasion, whatever the reason, there's plenty of bucket list experiences traveling by train. These are all independent holidays as well, so there's great freedom and flexibility. You're not part of a large group all of the time. You can spend time in the destinations doing whatever it is that you'd like to do, wherever you'd like to visit or head to. And of course, they're ABTA and ATOL protected as well. We do actually have our own maximum flexibility offer in place at the present time as well. For all new reservations, you can change your travel dates or postpone your trip up until 5 days prior to departure. That's the same for existing reservations too. You can reschedule at any point up until 5 days prior to your departure date, and that's without incurring any change fees to do so, for all bookings made by the 31st of December. You also benefit from 24-hour support from our global team, not just here in London, but also our colleagues in Sydney, Australia, Toronto, Canada, and across the pond in Beverly, just outside of Boston on the East Coast, and Laguna Hills in California. Now, you may have seen on the holding screen we had before the webinar began that there are a couple of handouts that you can download, and this is one of them. This great map shows some of the main parts of the European rail network, and each multicolored line refers to either a different train company or a different operator or different type of train running across Europe. And one of the confusing things can be that if you're looking at planning a rail holiday yourself, all of these different colors, different train companies, they don't always communicate with each other as well as they could do. They certainly don't release all of their tickets for booking at the same time either. So it can be a little bit confusing, even down to logistical things such as there might be more than one way of traveling between two places. So how do you know which is the best option for you? So what we aim to do is to take all of the mystery and complexity out of rail travel for you. And one of the ways that we do that is by working directly with all of the main rail operators in Europe, North America and beyond. So for example, that's our good friends and partners at Trenitalia, SNCF, Deutsche Bahn, Renfe over in Spain, Swiss Railways, Eurostar, of course, where so many of our trips begin, and across the pond with Via Rail in Canada, Amtrak, and many, many more. And what that allows us to do is, firstly, it obviously allows us to have access to the best available rates and prices for you, which is very important. But secondly, that's how we're able to advertise all of the holidays that you see on our website and on our brochure up to 2 years in advance, which is important if you're looking at celebrating a special occasion or traveling at a busy time, knowing that you can secure the holiday and secure the space as early as you need to. But also it means that if you are looking that far ahead, and obviously many of us are at the current time, it means that you can secure the holiday paying the current year's prices for the rail travel, so not subject to any price increases that may happen over the next 12 to 24 months. Now, one question that we are being asked regularly, which is why we always feature it on these webinars, is how our rail operators are maintaining a safe travel environment at the current time. And the answer to that is, over in mainland Europe, is they're doing it in a number of different ways, really, which are in many cases similar to what's happening in the UK. Firstly, facial coverings are required both in stations and on trains for all passengers and staff. In many cases, they're stopping the sale of food and drink on board trains too. Now, where that is the case, it doesn't mean that you can't bring a picnic, bring food and drink on board with you. It just means that food and drink may not always be purchasable on board. In many cases, they're changing the existing seat configuration, seat allocation on board too, and that's to allow for social distancing wherever possible. Already existing cleaning and sanitation measures have been increased, and again, where possible, they're carrying out contactless ticket control, again with the emphasis on social distancing whenever possible. Okay, so that's the introduction over. Now let's take a look at some holidays, all of which are going to include travel to or from or via the beautiful landscapes of the Swiss Alps. And first of all, we look at an old favourite, our grand Venice, Florence and Rome itinerary. So here, as you'll see throughout, the journey begins in London, but of course we can add on travel from your local station if you're not based in the capital. So all you need to do is let us know. This particular holiday, we have a 2-hour, 20-minute Eurostar journey from London through to Paris before heading to Geneva via a high-speed TGV Lyria train. And that takes just over the 3-hour mark, around about 3 hours and 11 minutes or so. We have an overnight stop in Geneva, which is absolutely perfect for a break of the journey. All of the hotels that we feature are a short walk from the station in the Old Town, and that's also a short walk literally from the lake itself. So a very easy to spend a nice evening, either pre or post dinner, having a stroll along the famous shores of Lake Geneva. The next morning, we have an absolutely stunning train journey. You travel through the breathtaking scenery of the Simplon Pass, which is the route that the Orient Express takes as it travels from Venice through to London. Amazing Alpine scenery and plenty more besides too, which we'll take a look at in just a second as you head through Switzerland into northern Italy and onto Venice, where you have a 2-night stay, which includes a gondola ride, a walking tour, and also entrance to the famous Doge's Palace as well. After your 2-night stay in Venice, you head down via the wonders of the high-speed Italian rail network to Florence, again for a 2-night stay, which includes entrance to the famous Uffizi Gallery, which is one of those places that if you've ever tried to get tickets on the day, it's pretty much impossible. So definitely worth a visit, but one of these places you absolutely have to have pre-booked. So 2-night stay there, and then heading on to Rome. Once again, high speed all the way, so the journey is just over an hour, and we have an ancient Rome tour, including trip to the Colosseum and the Forum, and more included as well. After your 2 nights in Rome, you have a choice. You can either fly back to the UK, or if you prefer, take the train up to Turin, have an overnight stay there, and then the next day you can travel through the French Alps, this time through Chamonix, and then change trains in Paris before connecting with a Eurostar back through to London. So let's take a closer look. Now, we've mentioned the Simplon Pass and the wonderful Alpine scenery that you experience on this journey. And we have, obviously, we talk about this journey every once in a while on these webinars because it's so popular and such a great way of traveling to Italy, amongst other things. So we thought we'd vary it up a little bit and show you a different perspective of this particular journey, because as well as the wonderful mountains, which you can see in the background here, the Alpine scenery, the famous Swiss landscapes, you also see some beautiful lakeside scenery as well. In fact, one of the very first things that you see is the train actually leaves Geneva by traveling round Lake Geneva itself as it heads around the lake through Lausanne, Montreux, and then heads on into southern Switzerland. And then later, you get some great views of Lake Maggiore in Italy, as you can see here, with the mountainous backdrop and the tiny Borromean Islands in the middle of the lake as well. So really, really great scenery, lakes, mountains, it really does have it all. And I think one of the reasons this holiday is perennially popular is it's got that classic combination from a rail holiday of a really scenic rail journey and then some fantastic, interesting destinations to visit at the end of that journey. And here they are, 3 wonderful Italian destinations which really need very little introduction, don't they? We've got the Rialto Bridge up in Venice, of course, top left, and you can see that could be you on the gondola ride, which is included, as we mentioned, amongst other things on this particular holiday. And to the right, we've got Florence and David just outside the Duomo over in Florence. And one of the things that I like about Florence in particular is it's such a walkable destination. Really, there's very little need to take public transport or taxis during your stay in Florence. You can see virtually everything on foot, and it's just so much history, so much to see almost everywhere you look, including the famous Ponte Vecchio Bridge over the River Arno, which is almost a living museum in some ways. So we've got Venice, Florence, and then Rome, of course, with the Trevi Fountain bottom right. So make sure you throw a coin in over your shoulder so you're able to come back and visit Rome another time. And the Forum, which you can see over on the left-hand side. So we have the tour of both the Colosseum and the Forum included on this particular holiday. So if you're a lover of history or just someone who likes visiting some beautiful, iconic destinations, then this could be a perfect holiday for you. Again, that great combination of the journey and the destination makes it an all-time favorite. And now a slightly different Italian destination and also a different way of heading through to Italy by train. So we saw the scenic journey heading through the Simplon Pass, and this journey here is even better than that. So if you're looking for the most scenic journey possible, then this one is right up there. This is our Lake Como and Vienna Express holiday, 5 days in total. So here, once again, starting from London, we head over to Paris, and then this time it's a connecting high-speed TGV onto Zurich. We have an overnight stay in Zurich, so perhaps the opportunity to enjoy an evening meal set out at one of the many restaurants that are located in the old town by the lake. And then the next morning, you take the train on to Chur, the oldest town in Switzerland. And it's from Chur that you catch the Vienna Express journey on into Italy. Absolutely stunning. And we'll take a closer look in a second and see exactly what that journey is like. And then from there, we have 3 nights to relax after that journey on the shores of Lake Como. Then once again, you have a choice. Either head back to Milan and fly home from there, or if you prefer, take the train to Turin instead, have an afternoon exploring Turin, and then the next day, travel through the French Alps onto Paris and then on to London. So if you're wondering what the Vienna Express journey involves, hopefully this gives you some idea. Just take a look at that. And really, it's one of the most scenic and popular rail journeys in the world, never mind Europe, really. It's absolutely stunning. And the whole route that the train takes is UNESCO World Heritage listed. So hopefully that gives you an idea of some of the scenery that you'll be experiencing on this particular journey. It really is a miracle of engineering as well. The way the train manages to climb via a series of bridges and spirals like you can see here. And at its highest point, it reaches 7,391 feet above sea level, which is pretty impressive. And then obviously begins its descent using the same method back down the other side. If you look at the image of the train carriages on the right-hand side, you can see those huge panoramic windows that stretch from your seat level all the way up almost to the ceiling. So wherever you're located on the train, everybody gets an absolutely perfect view. And really the emphasis on that amazing Swiss scenery that you can take in. And it really does cover the full variety from mountainous scenery, green countryside, lakes, ravines, gorges. You really do get to see it all. And it is absolutely stunning. And speaking of absolutely stunning, it's not a bad destination to relax by for 3 nights after your scenic train journey into Italy, is it? Lake Como. And here you stay in the old town of Como itself. Lots of history, lots of great places to explore, including the famous cathedral, amongst other things. But a couple of things that I would definitely recommend to do to make the most of your trip out in Como. First one is make sure you get on the water. There are frequent boat and ferry connections that will take you from the old town of Como to different resorts and smaller towns across the lake. And it really does provide you the full spectrum, the full perspective on the beauty of the destination. You get different viewpoints, you can see more of the scenery, and you can just take in the natural beauty of the lake. And of course, You can then stretch your legs, have some lunch, or have a stroll while exploring one of the other small towns dotted around the lake as well. So that's the first one. Second must do, I think, is from the old town of Como, not too far from where the ferries depart. Actually, you can take a funicular railway up to the small town of Brunate, which is located in the hills just above Como. And there are a couple of cafes and restaurants there where you can relax with a drink or perhaps have some lunch after enjoying that journey, which is, it's only a couple of minutes to get up to the top, so it's not particularly long, but you get absolutely stunning views from up there. And you can see obviously the lake below you, the old town, excuse me, and also the mountains, the Alps beyond that. So it's an absolutely beautiful backdrop. And looking down on it really is absolutely really special indeed. So would definitely recommend doing that. And once again, we spoke about it on the previous holiday, but we've got that great combination, I think, of a fantastic journey and then a wonderful destination at the end of it all. So next up, we'll stay in Switzerland, and this is another old favorite. This is our Switzerland's lakes and mountains. If we had a greatest hits album, then this one would definitely be on it. So perennially popular. Here you can either travel by air or rail, starting in Geneva, finishing in Zurich. So from Geneva, you take the train around the lake to the town of Montreux for an overnight stay. And then the next day you travel on a really scenic train line, the Golden Pass route, passing lots of vineyards, wonderful scenery, as you head up to Interlaken for a 2-night stay. On the second day, you visit the Jungfraujoch, the highest railway station in Europe, for some absolutely stunning views, and we'll take a little look at that in just a second. Next port of call is to take the train to Brig, from where you catch another famous train, the Glacier Express, over some more stunning scenery. You really can't beat Switzerland for natural beauty, as you head over to Chur, the oldest town in Switzerland, for a 2-night stay. And on the second day in Chur, you have a day trip on the Vienna Express. You head down to the Italian border and back again, crossing over the famous Landwasser viaduct as you do so, which is the famous shot you always see of the red train with the panoramic windows on top of the impressive viaducts and the wonderful views either side that I think it's on our brochure amongst other things, but you see it whenever train travel in Switzerland is mentioned. Really an absolutely incredible experience, as we've just seen. And then back to Chur for another night stay, and then heading on to Zurich and heading home. And this next screen shows you a little bit about what's involved when you travel on the Jungfrau Railway. And one of the differences, first of all, between this journey and, say, the Vienna Express that we looked at a short time ago, is that it isn't one continuous train journey at all. From Interlaken, you would travel, first of all, slightly up into one of the ski resorts up in the mountains, a place called Lauterbrunnen, and from there you change on to one of these cogwheel trains like you can see here, which would slowly climb further up into the mountains. You get some absolutely stunning scenery to enjoy, as you can see there. And then after you've traveled a little bit further up, you change again, and these changes are really straightforward. They're absolutely tiny destinations at a tiny little ski resort called Kleine Scheidegg. And from there you move on to another one of these little trains that passes right inside the heart of the glacier. And you again climb higher and higher and higher. Sometimes the train will actually stop. There's a couple of observation ports that are carved out into the side of the rocks. You can actually look straight through. And then eventually you reach the summit. And firstly, you can pose by the sign saying you've reached the top of Europe. So that's the obligatory photo session, or the first one anyway. And then you can head out to amongst other things, the viewing platform, which you can see top left. And again, you can see, on a clear day, you can see as far as the Black Forest into France, Germany. Absolutely stunning. All the surrounding mountain peaks and snow. No signs of life up there really, apart from you on the top of the viewing platform and maybe a few birds, and that's it. Really, really stunning, breathtaking experience. And it's one of the absolute must-do experiences in Switzerland. Really, it's very, very popular, and it's easy to see why. Really really iconic experience visiting the top of Europe. And then we head back down, doing something slightly different actually from next year onwards. So from next year, rather than what we used to do is retrace our steps, but heading down a different side of the mountain. So going down via the town of Grindelwald, which you can still do if you'd like to, but this year there's actually the option to take a cable car running over the top, so you get again amazing views looking over the whole panorama in front of you as you head back down that way and then back onto Interlaken once again. So really stunning scenery and a completely different sort of experience from the Bernina Express and some of the other train journeys that you would enjoy on this holiday. And the other famous journey that we haven't touched on yet is the Glacier Express, of course. And in this case, as with the Bernina Express, really, the word express itself is a little bit of a misnomer, because here we're not really concerned with speed or how long it takes to get from A to B. It really is all about enjoying some of the most amazing scenery in the world. And in fact, they actually call this train the slowest express train in the world. So that kind of gives you an idea. Again, you've got a great shot looking from the outside of the train here at those wonderful panoramic windows that stretch from your seat all the way up to the ceiling, so you get a good look at how those work. And this is in fact the only direct train that travels on this route. So you really do get to see parts of Switzerland that, similarly with the Bernina Express actually, that you just can't really experience any other way. There's no car transport or coach transport that would travel that way. So really do see parts of Switzerland that other forms of transport can't reach, as they say. You can also, another thing you can do is do what this couple are enjoying on the bottom right hand side of the screen here, and you can order a full meal on the Glacier Express served at your seat, or you can choose from an a la carte option or a set menu, whichever you prefer. They also have coffee, their own Glacier Express wine and beer as well, so might be rude not to sample one of those, perhaps while settling back and enjoying that breathtaking Swiss scenery. And now let's look at a slightly different destination as we'll head into Austria. This is another holiday that perhaps is one that we do feature it, but perhaps I always think we should feature it slightly more than we do, because it's incredibly popular, and the scenery is pretty much just as good, really, as just as breathtaking as some of that wonderful Swiss scenery that we always wax lyrical about. So here you start off in London, Eurostar to Paris, and high-speed TGV Lyria over to Zurich. An overnight stay in Zurich, once again by the banks of the Limmat, and then you head on the train through the absolutely stunning Swiss and Austrian Alps, over the Arlberg Pass into Austria for a 2-night stay in Salzburg, which is a great destination to spend a couple of nights in, and then carry on by train through to the capital of Vienna for a 3-night stay. And then from Vienna, you can either fly home or return by rail via Cologne and Brussels. And what great destinations once again we have. So top left, you can see the old town of Zurich, the river Limmat passing through. And there are lots of great restaurants actually there that will offer the opportunity to have an alfresco meal, perhaps in spring, summer, early autumn too. Really nice experience. And this could be a good example. We spoke about customizing your holiday earlier, didn't we? So you might decide you'd like longer than a night in Zurich, and perhaps you'd like, a 2-night stay, something like that. Again, really easy to do. You just need to let us know. Next up on the top right, we've got Salzburg, which really is picture postcard Austria. Some absolutely beautiful medieval and Baroque buildings that you can visit, including, of course, Mozart's birthplace. So well worth a visit there. And on the bottom left, we next port of call is Vienna, the Austrian capital, of course. And we include a pass which gets you access for 48 hours to all of the main museums and places of interest in Vienna, including the famous Schönbrunn Palace, which you can see here, bottom left. Absolutely stunning building, former summer residence of the Habsburgs. Really interesting to explore, beautiful grounds as well. So you get access there as well included. So there's lots and lots included and lots to visit whilst in Vienna. And on a slightly different note, if you've not been to Vienna before, I say that because if you have, you may well be wanting to do this anyway. You have to make sure you sample a slice of the famous Sacca torta, which is a very, very rich and tasty delicacy from Vienna. So make sure you sample some of that. It's not particularly good for you, and it won't do anything for your waistline, but it's very, very Moorish and very, very nice indeed. So make sure you sample some of that in Vienna as well. And finally, bottom right, you can see exactly what I was talking about when I was talking about the Swiss and Austrian Alps over the Arlberg Pass. Again, equally stunning scenery, and as good as anything really in Switzerland. So again, you've got that great combination of scenic train journey and some wonderful destinations to visit as well. And next up, we've got another journey to Italy, Switzerland, and Austria that takes us in a bit of a loop, almost in a circle. And this one might be perhaps not as familiar to you if you've booked with us before and travelled with us quite a bit, because this is a relatively new holiday itinerary that we have, only arriving on our website earlier this year. So here we start off in London with Eurostar to Paris, and this time it's connecting high-speed TGV Lyria to Lausanne, which is just along from Geneva on the shores of the lake. An overnight stay in Lausanne, followed by that amazing journey through the Simplon Pass that we looked at earlier, heading on into Italy, and then down to Rome, the Eternal City, for a 2-night stay. After that, it's heading north to Venice, where we have a 2-night stay, which includes a half-day tour of Murano and Burano. So for everything you wanted to know about lace making and glass making, this is definitely the trip to do, and some really picturesque spots, as we'll see in a second. And then you travel on to Vienna via overnight sleeper train, so something a little bit different. And one of the nice things about this is in both Venice and our next destination of Vienna as well, it means you get pretty much a full 3rd day because the sleeper train doesn't leave until after 6 or 7 in the evening on each occasion. And then you arrive in the following destination around about 9 AM the following day. So you really do get plenty of time, and you can explore everything you want to visit in both of those destinations. So if it's your first time to either Venice or Vienna, this could be a really nice option. So as I say, 2 nights in Venice, and then sleeper over to Vienna for a 2-night stay. Again, we include that Vienna pass, so you've got all the museums, the Schönbrunn Palace entrance included as well. Sleeper train again, remember, so you get that full 3rd day there before heading on back to London via Cologne and Brussels. And here are, again, those wonderful destinations. So top left, we have the old town of Lausanne, nestled by Lake Geneva once again. So a wonderful place to have a stroll by in the evening. Top right, we have Rome. Again, so much we haven't mentioned, have we? The Vatican, St. Peter's, so much to see and do in that destination, of course. And then bottom left, we talked about lace making. Well, this is done in Burano, which is where you can see and find the wonderful multicolored houses that you can see here. And we actually have a tour on this holiday to the islands of Murano and Burano. So Burano, you experience lace making, and then glass blowing, glass making on the island of Murano. So lots and lots to see and do there. And remember, you get that almost that 3rd day because of the sleeper train travel. And then we've got the iconic opera building, of course, in a ring in Vienna as well. So lots and lots to see. And again, some great destinations. And we travel around in a loop, as we saw from the map, heading down through Switzerland, Italy, back up into Austria, and then through Germany, Belgium, and back to the UK once again. This probably gives us an opportunity just to mention briefly what life is like on the overnight journeys as well. And on both of the overnight journeys on this particular holiday, the trains are the same type of train. So there's a couple of different types of accommodation available to you. The first one, which you can see on the screen at the moment, this is a couchette, which is available normally for 4 and occasionally for 6 people as well. So if you were going to be traveling, say, as a family, maybe with 2 small children, this could be a nice option. It's bunk bed style, so you've got the 2 beds on either side, one above the other. So exciting, I'm sure, for the children if you are traveling as a family. And the next option is available either for single passengers or for couples, or also for 3. So you can have this either for 1, 2, or 3 people. And this is the overnight sleeper cabin. So by day, when you board the train in the evening, it would have seats, as you can see on the top left there. And then the attendant would come along and would fold the beds down for you, which again are one above the other, as you can see here. And there are 2 different types of cabins available, all of which again can be used for either 1, 2, or 3. You've got the regular economy cabin, and there's also a deluxe version. And the difference between the 2 is the deluxe version has a small walk-in bathroom, which has your shower, toilet, wash basin, everything that you need within the cabin. If you're in the economy cabins, the difference is you just walk outside the cabin, take a couple of steps down the corridor, and then each carriage, which will have around about 3, maybe 4 sleepers in each one, will share one communal bathroom, which is looked after and maintained by the staff on board the train. So really interesting overnight experience. You also get, if you're in one of these sleeper cabins, and this is whether it's deluxe or economy, it's the same for both, you also get a few other inclusions. You get welcome pack with a complimentary drink when you board the train. You can also get a wake-up call. There's room service that you can get light snacks and drinks during the evening if you'd like to. And then after you've awoken the following morning, you're served a light complimentary breakfast in the cabin, which is made up for daytime once again, as you can see on the image on the top left. So really interesting way of travel. We get lots of questions, more so in recent years, actually, to be honest, about traveling overnight. What journeys can you do? What is it like on board the train? If this is something that's of interest, hopefully this explains a little bit more about how the journeys work, but also stay tuned, because I'll mention the webinars we've got coming up in the future, and we do have one dedicated solely to overnight travel and some great journeys that you can do. So stick around for that one, more information to follow. So that's our selection for today of some wonderful holidays that you can do traveling via and through some wonderful alpine scenery. And of course, as always, we love to hear from you. So if you've already got your next holiday booked with us, or perhaps you're looking to decide where you might like to travel to, why not let us know? You can always use the questions box on the screen in the course of this webinar. So if you'd like to tell somebody you've already got things sorted, then fantastic, please do let us know. Similarly, if you are looking for ideas or inspiration, maybe you know the sort of thing you'd like to do but are wondering what destinations you could combine them with, or you'd like to chat to somebody about it, again, let us know that too. Whatever it is, whether you're already decided or you're looking for inspiration, we love to hear from you. A reminder of where you can find us. This is our home, railbookers.co.uk. Those special offers I mentioned at the beginning, you can find them by clicking on the middle one of the 5 blue tabs at the top of the screen there. And you can also search for all of the different holidays that we feature, either by searching by destination, top left tab, or on clicking on the one just to the right of that that says holiday types. You can search via different holidays with overnight travel, scenic travel with lakes and mountains. There's also luxury travel experience, travel by sleeper train as well. Lots of great ideas, all collected by theme. So lots and lots of different ways of finding the perfect holiday. And here are those upcoming dates for your diary that I mentioned. So webinars for November. I find it slightly hard to believe we're in November already, but there we are. That's the case. So need to get on with it. So 10th of November. If you're looking for a luxury rail experience, perhaps for a special occasion, then we'll take a look at our top 5 luxury rail experiences. So make sure you tune in for that one. On the 17th, if you are interested in particular in the Swiss itinerary that we looked at today, then you might want to tune in for this webinar as we look at 7 of the most scenic train routes in Switzerland. So really some of the best scenery you'll see anywhere in the world. So if scenery is your thing, again, that's a good one to make a note in the diary. And finally, on the 24th of November, I mentioned we'd take a closer look at overnight travel and sleeper trains. So this time we'll look at overnight rail journeys with Railbookers. Now, top holidays, all of which will feature at least one journey traveling overnight. There'll be some journeys in the UK and also across into mainland Europe and beyond. So lots and lots of great ideas there. That brings us very nearly to the end of the webinar. So once again, thank you for joining me. But we can't finish, of course, without answering 1 or 2 of the questions that have come through this afternoon. So let's take a closer look now. As I mentioned at the start, I'll see if I can answer some of them now. But for anyone who submitted a question that we need to get around to spare, what will be over the next to make sure that everything gets answered one way or the other. Okay. Lots of speakers know where they're traveling to next. It's fantastic. Always great to hear from. Let's just see. Okay, we have a question from June. Hello there, June. I hope you're safe and well. And June's question is, can you tell us a little bit about the hotels? Are they all easy to access from the train stations? Really good question, that one. So the first answer to that is yes. Every hotel that we work with is centrally located and easy to access from all of the main train hotels from 3-star and upwards, so from 5. Each holiday that we've mentioned today, and in fact, the holiday will be based on staying in a particular holiday hotel, which you'll be able to see on the website. But we do have lots of as well. So for example, if the holiday is based on a 4-star hotel and happy staying in a 3-star, that's fine, just let us know. Similarly, if it's a special occasion, you'd like to stay in a 5-star, again, let us know that too, and we can change that over for you. And the larger destinations like say Rome, for example, have hotels in different central locations around the city. So if you're in a particular part of the city, maybe by the Spanish Steps or whatever it might be, or close to the Vatican, then just let us know and we'll have a hotel option there for you. So lots of great options. But yes, to answer your question, June, they're all very central and all are easy to access from the stations. Okay, let's see if we can answer another 1 or 2 more. Okay, we have a question from, who's that from? A question from Paul. Hello there, Paul. I hope you're well too. Paul's question is it possible to have a holiday exploring all of Italy, Venice, the lakes, and the Amalfi Coast? That one, Paul, is yes. It definitely is possible to do anything like that, really. You've seen a number of holidays you mentioned, webinars. If you look on the website, we'll have certainly some itineraries that will include Venice, Florence, all of the Italian lakes, or Venice and Rome and maybe the lakes as well. So if there's destinations that you would like to add, this goes back to customizing the holidays. Absolutely, you just need to let us know what destination and we can have them for you. So you can visit as many different destinations as you want, is the short answer. Okay, let's see if we've maybe got time for 1 or more. I got a question from, just come in actually, I think from Elaine. Hello there, Elaine. Hope you're safe and well too. When we're in the cities for the overnights, are we on our own or are there planned itineraries? So varies depending on the holiday is the answer to that one. So you can see in more detail if you are looking at a particular holiday on the website, or obviously we can explain to you over the phone as well. But unless there's a specific tour or our activity planned, which maybe an evening activity or maybe a full day affair, then otherwise you're on your own, so you can either do whatever you'd like to, basically. So wherever you'd like to spend your time in the city or the destination, you can. So it will be pretty clear if there's an activity planned, Elaine, that will take place during the evening. Okay, and maybe one more. Okay, we have a question from David. Hello, David. And David's question is, not having travelled by train over to Europe before at all, I'm a little bit unsure about the amount of luggage that you can take with you, and I'm sure there'll be many other people in the same boat. Could you let us know how much we can bring with us? Yes, David, certainly can do that for you. Good news is if there's no flights involved, you can pretty much take as much as you can carry, is the short answer. You can take up to 2 items of luggage per person, plus 1 item of hand luggage. And I couldn't carry much more than that, David. I don't know about you. So probably that's sufficient for most people, I would think. The other really good news is that, especially if you're planning on stocking up on presents, souvenirs, family, friends, for yourself, whoever it might be, then no one's going to weigh your luggage at any point. So again, as long as you're happy looking after it, then take with you as much as you would like, is the answer to that one. Okay, that's probably about all we've got time for, because time is marching on this afternoon. Those of you who've let us know where you're planning on traveling to as well. And as I mentioned before, didn't get this afternoon, one of the team will reach out to you over the next day or so, so we will answer every single one. All that remains to say really is to thank each and every one of you for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's been informative and entertaining, and perhaps giving you some food for thought on your next rail holiday. Most importantly, as let's mention the elephants in the room. We are about to slide back into lockdown for a month or so, aren't we? So please do look after yourselves, everybody. Please do stay safe. Times like this, I hope everybody is safe and well. So look rest of your Tuesday afternoon, and hopefully we'll have the pleasure of your company on another webinar in the not too distant future. Thanks once again, and bye.